Welcome to Superhuman Enhancements. Thank you for joining. My name is Joshua Seymour, and if you were tuning in last week, you know that we were introducing a unique way of looking at the topic of becoming superhuman. And I went through a series of content on ibots.com. We even looked at the concept of consciousness software. And today we're going to deep dive into brain power. So just to quickly review what we covered about becoming superhuman, that it has a lot to do, the connotation that we're using here, it has a lot to do with achieving superhuman performance. And so then you kind of have to define, well, what is performance and then what is superhuman performance? And a lot of that ties into your brain, which is why brain power is such an important topic, because for most of us, actually all of us to varying degrees, your brain is basically overloaded. We've got information overload, and you might even have to have a new definition of what information is to fully understand that, from modern technology to environmental data. And I don't mean like climate change scientists doing environmental data. I mean data from everything in our environment, including like our food supply, which is in many cases become very toxic with poisonous compounds that our body doesn't know how to process. The water and the air has become toxic. And we have all these electromagnetic fields from cell phone towers and Wi-Fi and power lines and satellite signals and radio waves. And it's just a lot to deal with. And that's just the world that we live in. So the brain, really, the human brain hasn't evolved to handle all this amount of data. It's just kind of too much, too fast for us. So we went into all of that. And now today, so you can go back and look at the previous episode to check that out, or go to ibots.com and check it out. Today, we're going to move on and talk about brain power and how brain power is everything, which is a very strong statement. And shout out to the authors and designers over at ibots.com for putting this together. So the first question that we have to ask and answer is, what is brain power? Brain power is the energy that enables you to manage and use the information stored within your memory. And what if you run out of brain power? When you don't have enough brain power, you become dysfunctional. Your mind becomes cloudy. You feel stressed out. Doing routine tasks becomes difficult. You want to escape life. Getting angry or upset happens more frequently. Anxiety increases while your ability to take action disappears. The amount of brain power you have available is the primary factor for how you love or hate your life. So in essence, brain power is your number one resource, and maybe one of the number one things you need to understand if you do want to become superhuman, or even just become more of the person you're meant to be, living more of the life you're meant to live. So brain power is the most important resource that you have. That's basically the point here. Brain power is the energy that enables you to manage and use the information stored within your mind. No, time is definitely not your number one resource. If you have an abundance of brain power, there will never be enough time. But when you are really low on brain power, time can be excruciatingly painful. This can be summed up simply with the phrase, "I can't wait for this to end." People with extremely low brain power literally kill themselves because every second alive is more painful than they can handle. And it's not money. When you have extra brain power, figuring out how to make money and taking action is easy. The world is your oyster. However, when you run out of brain power, money can become a crutch. Taking the actions necessary to earn money will make you feel like a slave in a hamster wheel. Money is an amplifier. If you are in a destructive state of mind due to not enough brain power, basically, money can accelerate your downfall. And we've seen that. Probably you know some people in your life. Maybe you've gone through that cycle. And it's not friends. When you have brain power, being social is a breeze and makes you feel alive. When you run out of brain power, friends are usually the first thing you cut from your life because you just don't have the time and energy. What used to make you laugh in social settings will annoy you because low brain power makes you a serious person. It's not health. When you have lots of brain power, it's easy to make smart choices, eat healthier, and naturally stay fit because you are always busy doing something. When you run low on brain power, your state of mind feels awful, and the first thing anyone does is try to escape. Escaping this awful state of mind leads directly to bad habits that accelerate the destruction of your mental and physical health. Brain power is not just number one because the authors here think it's important. Brain power is literally number one because mechanically it comes before everything else. The interesting thing is, maybe you haven't really heard anyone talk about it, a lot of people really don't realize that brain power is an actual tangible thing. So there's only one problem. Every problem you consistently have in your life is a direct result of not enough brain power. For instance, if you tell me you're struggling with your mental health, what I hear is you don't have enough brain power. If you tell me you're having difficulty solving a complex problem that nobody else can understand, this indicates you don't have enough brain power. If you complain to me that an employee quit and left you hanging, I already instinctively know you don't have enough brain power. So take a moment to remember, when you first started your business, and you arguably cannot become a superhuman without entrepreneurship and business. When you first started your business, you had endless problems that came up. It was exciting to solve them because you knew it was advancing you towards your goal. Yet now, when you have a new problem, you complain about the struggle. Why is this? It's simple. You don't have enough brain power. If you had enough, you wouldn't be complaining. You would already be taking action toward a solution you figured out on your own, like you used to do when you first started your business. And that brings us to this conundrum of create or escape. Brain power determines if your brain is in creator mode or escape mode. Creator mode is obviously the best. When you have enough brain power, you will automatically be able to enjoy the things you have in life. It's natural to want to create a better life by improving the things you have and acquiring new things. When you feel good, being productive is easy. You get a thought about what you want to do, and then you go do it. Setting goals and challenging yourself with a timeline to achieve it is a fun and enjoyable thing to do. When you accomplish the goal, you actually take the time to celebrate, evaluate your results, and then plan your next thing. Life is easy, enjoyable, and you feel like you're on top of the world. Everyone loves being in creator mode. Everyone hates being in escape mode, and that's why we try to escape. Escape mode doesn't feel good. It's disempowering, and it can be very destructive. Escape mode has a simple definition. You are trying to escape your current state of mind because it doesn't feel good. Identifying the reason why you don't feel good isn't just difficult, it's literally impossible. The reason why you don't feel good can be summed up like this. Why you have or don't have in your life, what you have or don't have in your life is most likely the reason for why you don't feel good. So let's look at an example here. In a relationship, if you are in a relationship, then it's probably something they are doing that is causing or contributing to you not feeling good. So you pick apart what they are doing that bothers you and get them to fix it. Not in a relationship. If you're single, you probably don't feel good because you are alone. If only you had a partner to build your life with, everything would be amazing. What about your business? more employees. If only your business was making more money, then you could hire the right people. This would take away your stress and help you build it bigger. Less employees. If only you could fire half of your employees, then you wouldn't be so stressed out, and you could finally enjoy your life. What if you were classier with a nicer vehicle? If only you had a nicer vehicle, then you could finally feel confident when you left the house. Or how about a bigger house? If only you had a bigger house, then it would be easier making friends that respect you. These are all possibilities, but they aren't the truth. No matter what you look at in your life or business, you will find an endless list of reasons for why you don't feel good enough. It's your kids, your loud neighbor, your crappy job, the paint in the kitchen, the cranky dog, a past memory from 20 years ago that is still wrecking your life. If only you bought Bitcoin when it was just $8. The real reason is simple. You don't feel good because your brain went into escape mode from not having enough brain power. Since you're not aware of what brain power is and how it works, you naturally hold anyone or anything else accountable. Escape mode is a constant tease that never seems to end. Does this sound familiar? You feel like you need to do something, but you aren't sure what. You know what you need to do, but you just can't get started. You get hyped up with caffeine to get started, then you get distracted with something else. Next thing you know, the caffeine is worn off. You take a walk for inspiration, have it all planned out in your head, but then your mind goes blank the moment you sit down to do the work. Escape mode is filled with incredible potential, yet grounding it down into reality never seems to happen. Worst of all, escape mode comes with endless anxiety. Anxiety is not fun at all. Being stuck in a potential reality, unable to perform, is the worst feeling in the world for an entrepreneur. This anxiety is often accompanied with a sense of doom, like your world can crash at any time, any minute. It's a constant state of overwhelm that doesn't go away unless you figure out how to escape your state of mind. Escaping your state of mind is impossible, but that doesn't stop people from trying. Let's talk about that a little bit. The escape artist. Escaping, even if it's temporary, is better than not escaping at all. When your brain goes into escape mode, there are only two ways out of it. 1, temporarily increase brain power. 2, reduce brain power requirements. All of the following forms of escape can be boiled down to 3 methods. So the first method is you will try to escape from your current state of mind through any means. And let's talk about some of those. Chemical escape. This is done by escaping into a new state of mind through the use of chemical addictions. Chemical addictions include substances like sugar, caffeine, fast food, smoking, alcohol, pharmaceuticals, herbal supplements, nootropics, hormone therapies, marijuana, psychedelics, meth, cocaine, opioids. That's chemical escape. Intensity escapes. Intensity escapes include actions that produce high-intensity events that alter your state of mind, such as orgasms, gambling, and extreme sports. Repetitive escapes. Repetitive escapes include watching TV, movies, scrolling social media, and playing video games. These are all sources of unhealthy data. We talked about this in the previous session. Unhealthy data that reduce brain power, making the problem worse in the long term. Then you have physical escapes. Physical escapes can range from constantly moving to new houses, cities, or countries, taking vacations, going to new restaurants, taking long drives, exploring new locations, exercise, and meditation. Unfortunately, all of these escapes are temporary. You will always return back to your state of mind. Any form of escape can easily turn into an addiction. You know it's an addiction if you feel like you can't stop because your mind and life will fall apart. So that was the first method of escaping, one of the first forms. The second one is when escaping from your current state of mind doesn't work, the next escape is into a better future. So how many from this list have you dreamt of? We're going to go through 13 items here. Every example in this list will either temporarily increase brain power or decrease brain power requirements. So the first item, dreaming about having a new intimate partner to build a better life with. Number 2, sexual fantasies to make you feel more empowered and in control. Number 3, a super fit body so you can convince people to do things for you or be strong enough to stand up for yourself. Number 4, shopping sprees to buy new things that will make you feel better, such as clothes, jewelry, vehicles, a bigger house, new workout equipment, etc. Number 5, being famous so people respect you and you can make things happen. Number 6, new ideas to make lots of money. Number 7, having children or getting a pet, things you may have dreamt of. Number 8, hiring personal assistants such as a chef, maid, or nanny. Number 9, a coach to help keep yourself on track because you have lost self-control. 10, a therapist to help you manage all the information in your mind that is overwhelming you. 11, a rock star employee that can make a lot of sales. Number 12, new courses or software that will help you become smarter to expand your business faster. And number 13, a new business manager that can take over all your responsibilities so you can live on a tropical island. And the idea here is that these kind of items, these examples, will either temporarily increase brain power or decrease brain power requirements. And then the third method, when building a better future doesn't happen fast enough, the last resort is to destroy your past. So when you get really low on brain power, your brain will try to sabotage any and every area of your life that requires brain power. All addictions will eventually destroy your life. Overspending to make yourself feel better can also destroy your life, especially when you run out of money. If you destroy a part of your life, you reduce brain power requirements. It's important to note when the following starts occurring, it's actually a result of your brain trying to protect itself from more damage, which brings us to sabotage. Often referred to as self-sabotage, sabotage occurs when thoughts attempt to destroy the important things in your life, such as a job, relationships, or friendships. You become forgetful, make stupid mistakes, and blurt out the wrong things at the wrong times. Hatred to cut people and things off. Your mind will fill up with thousands of different thoughts to make you hate each part of your life. These things make you upset, hurt, frustrated, and angry, causing you to lash out at others, sabotaging parts of your life. Emotional intensity becomes amplified in this state, enabling you to blow the littlest details out of proportion. Time to end it. By prioritizing your values, you eject people and things from your life justified by the emotional reactions you are feeling. Who will go first? Friends, spouse, family, business partner, employees, customers, the dog? What extras will you cut out? The gym, martial arts, yoga class, Tuesday book club with the girls? Your brain doesn't care what order as long as you start eliminating things from your life. Entrepreneurs usually end up having to make a choice, the business or the relationship. Since the business is required for financial survival, it usually takes priority. This means you can't be present at home because you're trying to keep up with the things at work. Although once the relationship starts falling apart, you can't work because you're thinking about your relationship at the office. In the end, it's a double-edged sword and you're getting sliced up either way. So every single short-term escape listed above will make the problem worse in the long term. And let's look at the relationship example. Have you ever tried to stay in a relationship that wasn't working? You both tried to fix hundreds of things about yourselves, your relationship, your home, everything you could think of. The more things you tried to change, the more complex your information became, requiring even more brain power in the long term. You both made huge sacrifices hoping this one thing was going to be the thing to finally fix your relationship, only to realize it helped for a few days, then you went back to anxiety. Just so you know, this is very normal. When you try everything you possibly could and you still don't feel good, it's also normal to hate the other person as you go through a breakup. If you did everything possible, then the problem must be the other person. What else could it be? Brain power. You both ran out of brain power and went into escape mode. In case you didn't already make the connection, the beginning of a new relationship is always in the creator mode. Then you run out of brain power and you both go to escape mode. This is the same for every new thing you start in your life until you get older. Sadly, when you get older and your brain power is so low, you don't go back into creator mode, even if you're doing something new. The good old days. Did you ever need things to be happy when you were a kid? Wasn't it nice back then? Nothing to worry about, no responsibilities. Oh yes, an excess amount of brain power. No wonder it was so easy to be happy. Not just happy, but also full of energy, ready to go and do things. You also learned anything you wanted really easily. Life was magical. The good old days when you had lots of brain power. And then we have false hope. The author, of course, says, I used to think removing things and people from your life was a valid solution. But to be honest, I don't think that anymore. Less things, less responsibilities, and less people reduces the amount of brain power you need. But this still isn't a valid long-term solution. Often, removing a spouse through divorce and losing your children makes things worse for everyone in the long term. I don't believe anyone ever truly recovers from this. Removing friends eliminates fun and causes other mental health issues like loneliness and low self-esteem in the long term. Removing things always comes with a backlash of failure that will destroy your confidence in yourself. Removing things from your life because you don't have enough brain power to manage them is destructive. And with all that said, there's really only one solution. There's only one valid long-term solution. The only way to naturally increase brain power in a stable, safe, and effective way is by removing unhealthy data from your memory using consciousness software. Unhealthy information reduces brain power and is the primary reason your brain switches from creator mode to escape mode. Now you understand how brain power affects your life, but you still don't understand the connection between brain power and data. You probably weren't aware of this. Too much unhealthy data causes irreversible damage in your brain. This can cause negative mental health issues such as depression, burnout, anxiety, and emotional blowouts. This damage can also cause physical issues such as weight gain, fatigue, inability to sleep, autoimmune disorders, and hypersensitivity to people and your environment. Escape mode is actually permanent brain damage caused by too much unhealthy data. Once a person goes into escape mode, they can stay stuck in it for years, decades, or even for the rest of their life. It's time to explore the connection between brain power and the data stored in your memory. So we're going to pause there for today because that's kind of a lot of information. And it goes along with what we already covered previously. So this whole segment that we just covered is regarding a definition and a way of understanding brain power and how it is everything. And this is a core component of understanding how do we become superhuman? Why are we not already superhuman? And what do we need to do to get there? So there are some other things to consider. For example, we did get into some of the technicalities about consciousness software in the last session. in the next session, we're going to get into memory. So this is probably going to get a little more technical when we start talking about the architecture of memory, but I'm going to save that for the next one. And here in a little bit, we're going to be jumping onto a space on X, and we're going to discuss every Monday. Every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm doing live streams, which are then getting uploaded into podcasts, and then we're also doing spaces on X, and they're on different topics. And every Monday, the theme is always becoming superhuman and superhuman enhancements and that kind of a thing. So we're not gonna exclusively be talking about brain power probably today, but we are going to get into things like brain hacking, neurohacking, biohacking, achieving peak performance, these kinds of things. And we'll see where the conversation goes. I think a lot of the value in conversating about these things is trying to ask the right questions and also sharing what seems to be working for you and for other people that we can pick up and apply that to our own lives. And superhuman to me is kind of the goal of human evolution. We want to become the most advanced humans that we can become, hence the idea of superhuman. And it's probably not exactly, maybe in the long term, but it's probably not exactly the same thing that you might think about when you think about superheroes like in Marvel and that kind of stuff. Although I do believe we can have supernatural powers, I am a little more partial to a more realistic, grounded, achievable version of superhuman. And maybe that's just the stepping stone to, if we're moving in the direction of something like biological immortality, going from being a degen to being a regen, then the real definition of immortality would be invincibility. So that if we're really going to achieve immortality in the long term, we're essentially moving toward being invincible. And that definitely is a lot more like some of these other characters. And I'm sure if we have enough brain power, we probably can unlock superhuman, supernatural abilities, much like maybe what we've thought about in terms of different superheroes. So there's a lot more to it, but today that's what we're going to be covering. And if you missed the previous one, you might want to go back or maybe just go to ibots.com and read it yourself. And then we will get into the architecture of memory next week. So this has been Superhuman Enhancements. Join us on the next one and maybe on the upcoming X Space today or later on. We would love to interact with you. We're also going to be doing private Zoom meetings for those who want to help create the different components of the super civilization. So feel free to join us on those. Thank you for being here. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.